It's always tempting for managers of newly promoted clubs to switch up their tactics when they make it to the Premier League. That's exactly what we did here at Norwich City, transitioning from the possession-based style of football that brought us such success in the Championship to a more direct, counter-attacking 4-4-2 system. However, 13 games into the Premier League season with just 12 points and a minus 13 goal difference, it's tough to say that transition has been a fruitful one. So today, we're going to rediscover our roots, rediscover those things that made us great and that got us up to the Premier League in the first place. First though, we have finalised our custom objectives for Season 2, one of which we have completed already. So as we move towards the second half of the season, we don't need to worry so much about signing a youth prospect with 85 plus potential. We've already done that with goalkeeper Paul Stewart, so we will be able to improve one youth scout by 1 star next season. We do, however, need to try and score a few more goals with Armando Broja. He has 3 to his name so far, but we need to score 10 in the Premier League alone if we are to complete that buy option. If we fail the objective, we have to allow him to return to Chelsea. Financially, we're going to be looking again towards the Youth Academy. We need to sign at least £5 million worth of Youth Academy prospects to the first team. If we do so, we can gain an additional Special 1 youth prospect slot, so we can sign another youth prospect like Paul Stewart with any potential. If we fail to do so, we lose one of our existing Special 1 youth prospect slots. We have 2 remaining. We would go down to just a single Special 1 left. You've seen the domestic success objective already, and that's just to beat one of the big 5 in the Premier League: Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. We haven't managed to do that yet, but if we do at some point this season, we can sign a promising young player on a loan to buy deal from the club that we managed to defeat. If we fail to do that, all new signings next summer must be from foreign clubs, no domestic signings. And then finally, for our fan experience objective, we need to lose fewer than 18 games in the Premier League this season. If we do so, we can double our ticket sale revenue for the following season in Buzzco's Core DNA mod. If we fail to do so, we need to cut that ticket sales revenue in half. So thank you to everyone in the comments who suggested ideas for those objectives. They are a bit harder this season, I think, than last season. So it's going to be difficult not only trying to stay in the Premier League, but also ticking those off along the way. We do have 2 more opportunities to tick off that domestic success objective today, though, as we take on both Manchester City and Arsenal here in December. Our trip to the Etihad will be our featured game of the episode. You'll see highlights of the Arsenal game as well as our opening fixture here today against Leeds. And then we'll be simulating games against Tottenham, against Crystal Palace and against Nottingham Forest. And as I mentioned, we will be going back to the 4-2-3-1 formation and the tiki-taka style of football that got us to the Premier League in the first place. So as well as Marcelino Nunez returning to the side, Tieno Ballo slips back into that number 10 position. Johnny Rowe also starts today on the right-hand side. This was a very tight, cagey affair between 2 newly promoted sides. No real opportunities until half an hour into the game when I thought Tieno Ballo was about to break it wide open. Really nice run, cuts in off the right-hand side. His left-footed shot, unfortunately, was wide of the Leeds goal. Ballo almost opened the scoring again just moments later, once more running down the right-hand side, not choosing to cut in on his left this time, but instead firing across goal with his right. I think Carl Darlow got fingertips on this one. Either way, it ended up hitting the inside of the post. The game opened up a little bit more in the second half. Willy Gnonto and Leeds starting to push for the opening goal. Jason Steele saw to it that they didn't get that opener though, saving from Ruter. But Gnonto himself would have the opener just moments later, using his strength and his quickness to turn the press of Patrick Pfeiffer and knock the ball into the top corner. And though we did press for an equaliser, Harry Toffolo finding Tieno Ballo at the back post. His header this time went wide. On another day, he might have had a perfect hat-trick. Left foot, right foot, header. Just wasn't his day though. And as is so often the case, the more we pressed for an equaliser, the more holes we opened up at the back. One of those was exploited by Leeds late on. A cheeky little chipped finish over the sprawling body of Jason Steele secured it for the away side. So another loss to add to the ever-growing list this season, but it was at least a more promising performance. We were more coherent, We did play better as a team, and I think once we find our feet in this system again, it's going to be the best option for the second half of the season. So we will stick with the tiki-taka tactical vision as we travel to the Etihad for the featured game of today's episode, but we'll be playing it out the 3-4-3. So Callum Chambers comes into the back line, and Tieno Ballo gets the start today ahead of Johnny Rowe, whose contract situation still needs to be resolved as we approach January. As for Manchester City, it is of course a formidable 11. Edison in goal, Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake will be the centre-back pairing, but Mendy and Yankuto will be the full-backs. Doku, Foden, Haaland up front, and Moretti joins Rodrigo and De Bruyne in midfield. So without further ado, let's head over to the Etihad and I guess just try not to lose 10-0. So we are up in the commentary box at the Etihad for a midweek Premier League fixture. So a chance to show the entire world what we can do here live on Sky Sports. Reverting back to the system that saw us promoted to the Premier League in the first place. Trying to rediscover that identity that we had last season. Using the ball, dominating the ball. Quick one-touch passing. Nice patterns, good link-up. As Phil Foden gets a booking here early. We very much lost that. And how is that not a red? That's off the ground, 2 feet, no control. Straight red all day. Of course he just gets a booking. I feel like we've lost that identity with the more direct counter-attacking 4-4-2 approach. Sargent in the box. Challenges. Free kick. This is the way it's going to be today, huh? Complete big team bias. Home field advantage. Pair them together. And Man City are going to get every single decision. I can already tell. And I mean, I know one of their players has been booked within 2 minutes, but it's a straight red. It's a straight red all day. And I can already tell, I guarantee Man City are getting a penalty today. Guarantee it. However, 3 at the back. Bit more of a foundation to first defend and then second build from, hopefully. As Marius Wolf takes the ball away from the Premier League's top goal scorer in Jeremy Doku. He's having a great season for Man City. 11 goals already in the campaign. Sargent is not too far behind him though on 7. Borja Sainz. Nice little ball from Harry Toffolo. Sargent in the box, but he's the only target. And there's little space to cross. One of the reasons we've gone with this 3-4-3 today as well is so that we can keep the ball with our back line. We know Haaland's going to press. But I think for the majority of the game, Manchester City are going to sit off beyond Haaland. I don't think they're going to send too many other players forward to press. And it's only when we get into their half that they'll start really trying to win the ball back. So I think we can not waste exactly, but while away valuable minutes, keeping possession with our 3 centre-backs. And I don't think there's going to be a massive amount Man City can do about it. Sainz can't quite find Sargent. And Foden comes away once more on this right-hand side. Sargent is going to be in a similar situation today. He's going to be the one pressing like Haaland. And we're not going to be committing too many other players to the forward press. Good challenge. Marcelino Nunez completely picks the pocket of Erling Haaland. And I am so glad that we have Nunez back in the team. Patrick Pfeiffer. Callum Chambers. Just goes back to Jason Steele. Wesley Hoyt now. Harry Toffolo. Hoyt almost sold him short, but Toffolo has been able to wriggle away from Phil Foden. It was a loose pass initially, but Borja Sainz wins it back. I just wanted the little 1-2 in there between Sainz and Toffolo. And Hoyt overcooks that one. And the ball does go out of play for a Manchester City throw. So I think for the remainder of the season, we're going to come out in our tiki-taka tactical vision. That's the way that we play. And we're either going to have success in it, or we're going to go down trying. But I think we shifted too far away from what our identity was. We built a system that we thought would succeed in the Premier League just theoretically, but I don't think necessarily it suits the players that we have in the team or the manager's way of playing. And of course we did bring in a handful of players that we thought would suit the system, like Armando Broja, like Patrick Pfeiffer. Well done from Marius Wolf to get forward and win a corner. And Lewis O'Brien, I guess. But I think they suit this system just as well. Marcelino Nunez to deliver the corner. Looking for Patrick Pfeiffer. Can't quite win the header. Ederson collects. And gives Patrick Pfeiffer a little knee while he's down for good measure. Finds Phil Foden with that infamous left foot. Ederson has to be one of the best passing goalkeepers really in Premier League history. He's insane. He's got such a good left foot. Really good feet from Borja Sainz. Pulls it all the way back across goal, looking for Marcelino Nunez on the edge of the box. Can't quite find him. But already I can feel a difference going back to this system. And it does make such a big difference who your coaches are. We have all gold coaches, only 3-star coaches to match the star rating of our club. But they are all, you know, accomplished tiki-taka coaches. And God, can you feel the difference? When we went to wing play, we had just 1 silver coach and 3 bronze. And literally, we were struggling to string 2 passes together. At least in this system, we can actually play football. We can actually, you know, complete simple 5-yard passes. Which sounds ridiculous, but it was literally almost impossible to do that on the previous tactical vision. Sainz, Sargent both in there. Marius Wolf can't find either of them. But we're actually putting some pressure on Manchester City here. Toffolo just goes back to Wesley Hoyt. Lewis O'Brien leaves it for Marcelino Nunez, who loses out in the end. It was certainly an improvement in the last game against Leeds. Unfortunately, we couldn't come away with the result anyway. But we certainly looked better. We looked worse defensively. But we looked far better going forward. Rodri. Haaland. Really good challenge. Callum Chambers is just going to have to hook clear. Looking for Tiano Ballo, who loses out to Rodri. Far too big, far too strong, the Manchester City midfielder. But half an hour into the game, it is still 0-0. I think that's as much as we could have hoped for before the game. And I think if you would have offered Johannes Thorup 0-0 after half an hour, he would have taken it instantly. We do, of course, need to maintain that for another hour. The game is far from over. No victory other than an extremely minor moral one, going half an hour scoreless. Oh, Hoyt's been beaten by Haaland. He recovers so well, though. Initially gave Haaland the space to turn into, but recovered excellently. Toffolo can't quite beat Rodri down the line. He's been everywhere, Rodri. Sideline to sideline, putting in those kinds of challenges. Lewis O'Brien just goes back to Wesley Hoyt. We have space over on this right-hand side. And again, we can just kind of keep the ball. This is something I like about the tiki-taka tactical vision as well. We can keep the ball at the back. When you're setting it to things like fast build-up, direct passing, your players just bomb forward instantly. And it's impossible to build any kind of attack from the back. And you want that at times. You know, you want that when you've invited the opposition onto you. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you just win the ball on the halfway line. And you just need to go backwards before you can go forwards. With the previous system, it was impossible to do that. You would have to go forwards immediately. Or you would have no one to pass to. Borja sides! Straight at Edison. Best opportunity of the game by far for either team. Callum Chambers stepping forward from his centre-back position. Something else I like about this particular system. Not just the tiki-taka, but out of the 3-4-3 in particular, those centre-backs, because there are two others alongside them, they can take it upon themselves to step out into midfield from time to time. Sargent just lays it into the path of either Lewis O'Brien or Marcelino Nunez. Either one could have had that. Both of them stopped their runs. Borja Sainz in behind. De Bruyne has stepped up. Again, there's just not too much to aim for, though, in terms of options in the box. Harry Toffolo, really poor touch. How is that such a poor touch? Absolutely horrific touch. Completely kills the attack. Really poor from Harry Toffolo. I do have a new left back in mind. If we do manage to stay up this season, I think I have the perfect left back in mind for us. I've really tried to bring him in this season, but we can't afford to buy him outright at this point in time. And his parent club weren't considering letting him go out on loan. So it is one that we're going to have to wait on and just see if we do manage to stay up this season. If we do, I think we can almost certainly grab him next season. But the half-time whistle does go. And we said half an hour into the game, Johannes Thorup would have taken 0-0. Half-time, he certainly would have taken 0-0. Haaland has been quiet. Wesley Hoyt is a big reason for that. But there's still a long way to go in this game. 45 minutes is going to feel an awfully, awfully long period of time in the second half. Thank you for checking out this episode of our realistic Norwich City career mode. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're approaching the end of the FC24 cycle now, but there'll be plenty more content to come with the release of FC25, including 12th man memberships. If you want to get more involved with the channel, check out the membership tiers on my homepage. Memberships start at less than £2 per month and come with a whole host of benefits and rewards, including you being able to feature in my career mode saves. We'll be starting a road to glory with a created club as soon as FC25 drops. So if you want to be included in the save or even feature in our starting 11, become a 12th man member of the channel today. 12th man members also get exclusive early access to all of my videos, not only my career mode series, but also my realistic slider sets and everything else in between. If you want more information about exactly what each tier involves, be sure to check out this video on my homepage. If memberships aren't for you, you can also join the public area of my Discord server, or just keep watching and enjoying the content for free right here on YouTube. As always, I appreciate all of your encouragement and support. Now, let's get back to the video. So back out for the second half here at the Etihad, and we will continue to just try and kill this game, to just try and neuter any momentum that Man City might build, try and, you know, steal a goal on a... Make your mind up, ref. Is it a free kick or not? Jesus. Try and steal a goal on a counter-attack. Or from a set-piece. Tiano Ballo, not the ideal target, though. Jeremy Doku into the path of Haaland. Back to Foden. Moretti linking the play. He's been relatively quiet as well. Man City just been pretty poor in that first half, to be honest. The same could be said for Manchester United when we played them earlier in the season. And we were fairly close to coming away with a win in that game. We've not put in terrible performances against the top clubs in the league. we've just struggled to come away with the result. We've probably actually put in better performances against the big clubs than we have against smaller clubs. I would say our performances against Manchester United, Aston Villa, and so far here today have been better than that performance in the opening game of today's episode against Leeds. Tiano Ballo steals the ball away. Josh Sargent in behind, completely blocked off by Nathan Ake. Josh Sargent picks his pocket though. Really good persistence from Sargent. Marius Wolf just holds on to it. Callum Chambers. Big switch of play on to Harry Toffolo, who he finds. Harry Toffolo gets the cross in. Looking for Sargent, but it's not the best cross. Sargent is obviously our best target in the box, but not when he's in that particular position. I'd rather gamble on Tiano Ballo or Borja Sainz. Borja Sainz on the ball now as well. Lewis O'Brien just about found by Wesley Hoyt, but can't find Marcelino Nunez. It's another loose pass. Ballo pressing high. Sargent doing the same. Ruben Diaz finds Couto at right back. Another new addition for Man City. Saw a former Man City man in a previous episode in João Cancelo. He was playing for West Ham. I love João Cancelo. He was probably my favourite player in the Premier League when he was playing for Man City. I think he's so good. I had him as basically a top 5 player in the Premier League. Not even a top 5, you know, defender, top 5 fullback, top 5 player in the Premier League. Which I think most people would say is rich. But I think he's so good. He's so versatile. He can play almost anywhere. You know, right back, left back, centre midfield. You can kind of play him wide as well. Not so much as a modern forward, but in years gone by, like he pretty much would have been a traditional left or right midfielder, I would say, rather than a defender. Ederson makes a hash of it. Tiano Ballo obviously can't win the header. If that was Sargent, Man City would have been in trouble there. Borja Sainz cuts it out. But an hour into the game, I'll keep saying it, Johannes Thorup would have taken this. Still goalless. Man City still yet to really create anything clear-cut as they make their first change. Nunez coming on for Moretti. And I think we will persist in our default game plan for now. But I think we'll drop back into defending and make a change or two before too long. Because I imagine at some point Manchester City are going to start pressing for the opening goal. And maybe that change, bringing Nunez on, is the signal that Man City are now going to start really pressing for a winner here. But we will see how it goes for the next 10 minutes or so. But I think defend this point that we have with everything that we have going into the last 15-20 minutes or so. That might even mean dropping into ultra defensive. Marius Wolf. Tiano Ballo in behind, cut out by Mendy at left back. A little more loft on that, and again Manchester City could have been in a bit of trouble there. Marius Wolf, Nunez, really nice linking play, and Tiano Ballo's gone a little too far. Just needed him to hold that run a little. Just offside. Broja, of course, is going to have far fewer opportunities to get the 10 goals that he needs this season. Or the 10 goals that we need him to get, rather. If we are going to take him up on that buy option, or take Chelsea up on that buy option. Patrick Pfeiffer has got to get a foot in, he can't. Nunez on Foden. Rodri, it's a good save by Jason Steele. However, I believe it's the first one that he's been forced to make today. And it's come 67 minutes into the game. So surely we are doing something right here. Tiano Ballo once more. Quick feet, but can't beat his man. Callum Chambers all the way across to Patrick Pfeiffer, who is out on the left-hand side now rather than Wesley Hoyt. Borja Sainz in behind. Toffolo finds him. Sainz with one man to beat. Beats him. Gets a shot away, blocked. And headed clear. Harry Toffolo wins it though. Josh Sargent gets a shot away, blocked again by Nathan Ake this time. And we're going to have to be living off scraps like that in these last 20 minutes or so. Really good challenge, Marcelino Nunez. And if Chambers can find Wolf, which he has, Sargent is in the box. Wolf can't quite find him, Edison claims bravely. Really good ball from Callum Chambers though. Into Marius Wolf, and that's well won at the back as well. We are playing very, very well here at the Etihad, and we can let that go out. We can drop into a defensive game plan. We can make a change or two, as Manchester City are going to do. Vardiol to come on. So 3 changes for Johannes Thorup and Norwich City. 2 he's elected to make. That's Tiano Ballo and Josh Sargent off for Johnny Rowe. Nope. Yep, for Johnny Rowe and Armando Broja. That's such a bad pass. 1 change he's been forced to make, which is Wesley Hoyt, who has picked up a knock. He's come off for Shane Duffy. Not sure how much time Wesley Hoyt has been nursing that knock for. It can't have been too long, but we're not going to take any risks. And Shane Duffy is, at the very least, a fresh pair of legs at the back as well. Wesley Hoyt's had a very, very good game. And he has been really instrumental for us since joining in January of last season. So I don't want to take any chances with him. And so he has come off for Shane Duffy for these last 15-20 minutes or so. De Bruyne, we can't let him get a shot away. So Brian makes sure that he can't. Broja, really good strength. And finds Marius Wolf on the right-hand side. He's just going to power forward, Marius Wolf. Broja, of course, linked the play in midfield. Does well to get into the box. And headed clear by Man City. And with 10 minutes to go, I'm just going to drop into our ultra-defensive game plan. Berardi beats Duffy. That is one thing about Shane Duffy. He has very, very little pace. Wesley Hoyt doesn't have a huge amount himself. Haaland blocked by Pfeiffer. Hooks clear by Lewis O'Brien. And with 10 minutes to go, I think Man City are going to throw everything they have at grabbing a winner here. I think we're going to throw everything we have at just holding on to a point. Borja Sainz, though, has won the ball back. Broja picks it up. Nathan Ake, just the single man to beat. Broja can't beat him. I don't think we really had the pace to beat Ake. We had to try and twist and turn him and find a half yard of space. And then just try and hold him off. Sainz cuts it out again. Loses out to De Bruyne, though. Unfortunate. Really good defensive work from Borja Sainz on that left-hand side. Berardi turns Wolf. Patrick Pfeiffer heads clear as Haaland was looking for an opportunity. Broja, this is what we wanted. A chance for him to put his head down and power forward. And he's in behind Manchester City. And Edison saves. He went near post. Probably should have been going far there, Broja. Would have been an ideal time to score it. Would have been an ideal goal scorer. As Nunez puts the corner in. Patrick Pfeiffer wins the header. Just wide. I mean, that's what we brought him in for. Not just his defensive ability, but to be a nuisance at set pieces. Because I think, far more so than last season, we are going to be relying on set pieces for goals this year. Johnny Rowe pressing Mendy high. Can we force Manchester City into one final mistake? They're a little bit leggy at the back now. Ake and Mendy in particular. And Johnny Rowe wins it back, and Armando Broja strikes. Carried away by Edison. And somehow we are looking like the team more likely to score here late at the Etihad. Rodri with the last-ditch challenge. It's such a good strike. It's a good save by Ederson. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league, in the world. And he shows it there. Nunez. Duffy. It's going to fall for Duffy. No, it's not. Took an awkward bounce. The spin on the ball took it back towards Ederson, rather than just sitting up for Duffy to strike. And there's that left foot again. Foden in the number 10 role now. Nunez cutting out the option to Haaland. Not allowing Foden to find him. So it does force Manchester City back. Broja can't win it. Neither can Lewis O'Brien. Haaland, Foden linking well. Patrick Pfeiffer back to Jason Steele, who just looks clear. He shanked it though out of bounds. Looking for Borja Sainz on that left-hand side. And Johannes Thorup will make his last couple of changes here. Sainz and Nunez leave the field. Gibbs and McLean come on to replace them. So some fresh legs in midfield just for these last couple of minutes or so, just to try and see this game out. It's been a really sturdy, resolute, professional performance from us so far. Let's see it out and get something to show for that performance. It would be heartbreaking to concede here. Really good challenge. Lewis O'Brien. Just don't lose the ball. And the referee's final whistle does go, and it's not a win. We still can't cross off that objective of beating one of the big five, but it is a point taken from Manchester City at the Etihad. I don't think we can ask for a lot more than that, to be honest. Manchester City have their head in their hands, but it's not an undeserved point by any means. And if anything, we looked more like grabbing the winner late on through Armando Broja, who not changed the game exactly, but showed some flashes at the end there for us. But we'll take a point, absolutely. So on the balance of play, I would argue a very, very well-deserved point. We do need to win a game at some point, though. We've gone 12 games without a win now, and I don't particularly like our chances of getting a win here against Spurs. They've added Jose Gaya at left back, William in midfield, and Alexander Isak up front. We're going to stick with the 3-4-3, but Shane Duffy comes into the back five in place of Callum Chambers. Johnny Rowe and Armando Broja both come into the front three. And we do manage another point against really good opposition. Armando Broja added to his goal scoring tally just 6 minutes into the game. Maddison equalised for Spurs shortly after. Borja Sainz put us ahead just before the break. William equalised for Spurs. Again, we take the lead late on, but Heung-min Son equalises just 3 minutes from time. Arsenal have also added to their attacking firepower, bringing in Darwin Nunez from Liverpool. They've added significantly to their defence as well, though. Mamardashvili starting in goal for them today. Jimenez, Davis, Kimmich all joining Arsenal, whereas Johannes Thorup is going out with the same system and the same intentions as the Manchester City match. 3-4-3, try and nullify Arsenal as much as possible, try and come away with at least a point. We said against Manchester City that Johannes Thorup would have taken 0-0 half an hour into the game. I'm sure the same would have been said here, but instead we would have the lead about 15 minutes in. Marcelino Nunez taps home pretty much unmarked at the back post after Johnny Rowe squares it. And as if that wasn't enough, Johnny Rowe would find the overlapping run of Marius Wolf on another quick counter-attack. Josh Sargent was at the back post this time. Marius Wolf didn't need him. He fired past Mamardashvili to make it 2-0 25 minutes in. So we did manage to catch Arsenal napping in the early portion of the game, but they soon woke up. Darwin Nunez initially forcing a save from Jason Steele from a long free kick. Reece Nelson then doing the same from a long strike from just outside the penalty area. Looked like it was curling into the far corner. And I thought for certain Arsenal had caught us sleeping. Wesley Hoyt in particular flat-footed. Darwin Nunez bursting through on goal. But Jason Steele timed his run out perfectly, smothered it and saved it with his chest, with his face. I don't know and I don't care. Steele would be called into action from the resulting corner as well. And it was a man-of-the-match performance from Steele that continued into the second half as he almost single-handedly kept Arsenal at bay. This time parrying away from Darwin Nunez. making saves that he doesn't even need to make. So 13 is unlucky for some, but it proves very, very lucky for us as we do manage to hang on to a 2-goal lead and overcome Arsenal at the Emirates. I thought a point against Manchester City at the Etihad would about be all we could hope for today, but we managed to go one better with a famous victory that surely is going to shock the Premier League. So somehow we have managed to take 5 points from Manchester City, Tottenham and Arsenal, and with just 2 games left in the episode against Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, this can end up being a very productive one. It's back to the 4-2-3-1 as we try and take the game to Crystal Palace, but we don't quite manage that. Nunez did score his 2nd goal of the season just after the break, but Lerma equalised for Crystal Palace about 20 minutes from time. It's going to be another point. Every point matters though, and we will try and grab at least one more as we take on Nottingham Forest in the final game of the episode. 2 former Norwich City players feature Andrew Omobamidele at centre-back, Christian Fasnacht at right midfield. But with only a couple of days since the Crystal Palace fixture, we have had to rotate our 11 slightly. Cordoba and Chambers come in to centre-back. Abu Kamara starts at right wing. Armando Broja starts up front today. And it is another former Norwich City player who comes back to haunt us. It hasn't happened on too many occasions so far in the series, but Danilo opened the scoring for Nottingham Forest before the break. Christian Fasnacht put them 2-0 up just after. Johnny Rowe did grab a goal 65 minutes in, but Mighton secured the victory for Nottingham Forest. The way that we got them is a little unexpected, but 6 points for the episode is not a bad tally. Shame we couldn't get a couple more though, slipping up against Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest late. Those points will go a long way though, as we rise to 15th place in the Premier League table, having dropped into the relegation zone for the first time in the series earlier in the episode. And we've got a good opportunity to rest, recover, recuperate for the second half of the season in the next episode. Just 3 games on the slate so far, one of which is a cup game. We do of course have the January transfer window opening and closing in the next episode too. So we might not have a lot of football to play in the next episode, but it should be a busy one nonetheless. We've got potential transfers to bring in, potential transfers to go out as well. We've got Johnny Rowe's contract situation to sort out. So we look forward to all of that in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.